This is the good version. Yeah, no, this is the good version. I do not like the Danny DeVito one at all. Got this in Utah and I spilled water on it, so you can see it kind of stuck and tore right there.
But it's perfect because it looks like it's part of his mustache.
Yeah. It's mustache-ception. Okay, this is the weirdest case I've ever seen for one of the movies I own.
It's like a CD case.
Yeah, it's like a CD jewel case. And the quality of the print is fantastic, but it's just like, why did it come in a jewel case? One of the great movies ever made.
Yep, Fritz Lang. Yep.
Yeah, you've seen M, right?
No.
You've never seen this?
No.
Mark, what the fuck? You come into my house and you've never seen M?
I know that this image right here used to be Jack's profile picture on his Google account.
Was that for school?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah. That image right there.
Yeah, everyone thought that was like me. Like for a while, they're like, is that a picture of you? I'm like, no, that looks nothing like me. Does that look like me, Mark? I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. Mine was, I think it was Dustin Hoffman. I can't remember. Maybe
yours was Scorsese at one point, I remember.
It changed a lot.
It changed a lot.
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah, Orson Welles said this would make Stones cry.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's a good movie. I'm going to review this for my 31 days and 31 films in 31 days. So who knows? Maybe this video will be out before this video. Who knows? It'll be a race for the editing process.
Yes.
So how'd you see this movie for the first time?
I saw this movie on the big screen for my film class. Right? Yeah. On the big screen for my film class. I wrote a paper about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie. Roger Ebert called it like the most perfect film he'd ever seen. He said it was just perfect in every way.
Yeah, I remember seeing this, not liking it, and coming back to it years later, and I said to myself, this is an amazing movie. So I don't know how I disliked it the first time. This set was curated by Scorsese.
Huh.
Yeah, so this is 2 Michael Powell films. And A Matter of Life and Death, this one right here, just got released on Criterion. And I reviewed it for my first 31 films in 31 days. Ministry of Fear, one of my favorite covers for a Criterion ever, or just DVD cover. Look at this. This is so gorgeous. Oh, Midnight, one of the most underrated comedies of all time. And then we got Mighty Joe Young, one of the most underrated action adventure movies of all time. And I've actually met Terry Moore, and she was very nice. And she said that when she went to the premiere, she went with Ernest P. Schoedsack, the director, and he was a big guy, and some kids, came up to him, before the premiere, and they asked him if he was the guy who played Mighty Joe Young, not realizing that he was like a special effect. And rather than telling them the truth, he goes, yeah, and he raises his arms and he goes, roar, and they ran away screaming. I got Mr. Rogers on DVD.
Won't you be my neighbor too?
Yeah, and you excited for the Tom Hanks movie?
Yeah.
What's going to be funny is we're going to look back on this video like 10 years from now and be like, oh yeah, remember when that movie didn't come out yet? One of the first movies with a closeted gay character that was, it was obvious this guy falls in love with a girl and his best friend is quote unquote jealous. He's very jealous and talks about how his friend completes him and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is a really risky movie.
Risky.
I love mummy movies, even though most of them suck. But this is the coolest mummy design I've ever seen. Ever. I think the mummy shroud is awesome. I remember seeing this picture in a book when I was a little kid, and I was just like, oh my god, I want to see this so badly. And I saw it, and it didn't disappoint. I'm sure if I watch it again now, I probably won't like it.
Yeah.
So remember the Brendan Fraser mummy movie? So they made a cartoon based off it.
I remember that.
Yeah, so they made a cartoon. I have the complete series, like, it's here, but it's like, whose idea was this? That is a bizarre concept. That's like doing Jurassic Park as a cartoon. Well, that'd be pretty badass. Think of all the stuff you could do with animation if it was like a very adult animated film. Let's do it, Mark. Let's call Universal and pitch this. Charles Lawton's greatest performance, and this cemented him as the greatest actor of all time in my mind.
Charles Blount.
Yep, and then they remade this with Marlon Brando, and it fucking sucked. And then they remade it again with Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins, and it was all right. But this is the great version, and it's also a Best Picture winner of 1935.
1935. Jack and I did a spoof about My Dinner with Andre.
Oh, that's right, we did.
My Dinner with Mark.
Yeah, and we were talking about the Chinese Empire. That was for Miss Smith's class. One of the greatest westerns of all time is The Naked Spur. And this is the Anthony Mann movie that I think is fantastic. I don't think The Furies, is a very good movie, to tell you the truth. Naked City, Naked Gun, Naked Lunch, Naked Prey, Naked Spur. It's like, can't people keep their goddamn clothes on?
No.
Night Gallery, one of the greatest shows of all time. This is a follow-up to The Twilight Zone. And then Night of the Hunter. Have you seen Night of the Hunter?
No.
This is a great movie. This is Robert Mitchum's greatest performance. Everyone talks about how great Titanic is, the James Cameron movie. So this is A Night to Remember, which is basically the James Cameron movie, except better, in my opinion. So if you ever wanted to see like a 2-hour version of Titanic, just see this movie. This is the best version. It is one of my favorite Fellini films, and you can no longer get it in America, and it's a shame. Got a lot of noir packs. I want to get the Noir Classics Volume 4, but it's very expensive. Seen Shawshank, right?
Yeah.
Look familiar?
Very.
Great movie. Yeah, the famous movie line, Judy, 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 does not exist. But Cary Grant thinks that it came from this movie because Rita Hayworth's character's name is Judy. Mm-hmm. Yes, I had the DVD, then upgraded to the Blu-ray for Joan of Arc. Passion Joan of Arc. Have you seen this?
No.
One of the greatest performances of all time by Maria Falconetti. This is her only movie she ever did, and many people consider this one of the greatest performances of all time. Oh my god, again. Probably the funniest serial that's ever been made.
Sounds like something you'd find on Svengoolie.
Yeah. I wish Svengoolie would play movie serials from time to time, you know? That'd be a cool little gimmick. Because even though I love movie serials and I know they're bad, I still wish they were more appreciated. The Police Squad, the Naked Gun movies, actually started out as a TV show. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
Yeah, so it started out as a TV show. It lasted 1 season. And the Zucker brothers and Abrams made the show, and they were like, we can't let this die. This is such a great concept. So then they turned it into the movies, hoping to revive the TV show. Didn't revive the TV show, but, you know, they made a couple movies.
The movies were successful.
Yeah,
so.
The first 2 movies I thought were great. The third one I hated, because the Zucker brothers had nothing to do with it, so it wasn't as wacky.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part is with Billy Crystal.
Not Billy Wilder.
Yeah, not Billy Wilder. Although I feel like some of the dialogue is inspired by... Yeah, that Blu-ray is like a storybook.
Oh. I like this.
Yeah, so it's got like film essays and original artwork. And there was an interview with William Goldman in there, the screenwriter. And they recorded that, and then they released this Blu-ray, and then he died like a week before this Blu-ray was finally released. Mm-hmm. Which is unfortunate, but, you know, he's a very talented man. I think he wrote the screenplay for All the President's Men. So I love Turner Classic Movies, and they used to do this thing called the, Greatest Classic Movies collection, where you'd get 4 great movies for one low price. And I love these things to death. I should do a tribute video on these, actually. I love them so goddamn much. And they don't do them anymore. And they replaced it with silver screen icons, which aren't as good, because you get the movies... but you don't get the special features.
Yeah.
Because there are special features on these discs that you can't see because the focus isn't working. But, I miss these and I wish they'd bring them back. Okay, it is August 15th now. We ran out of time and I gotta go back to school soon, and so does Mark. So I'm just gonna finish the last couple drawers by myself. I'm going to be very brief with this because I feel like I have enough footage in the previous videos. So, I don't want this to go too long, so I'll only talk about things that really stick out to me. This is a pretty good Western. Oh, shit. This is a pretty good Western. It's got Robert Mitchum, son of a bitch. This has an intro by Scorsese, and joke I had with a buddy of mine named Charles back at my last school. I always said, we always said that if there is a, making of or a documentary on an old movie, Scorsese's in it. And there's so much, there's so much truth to that. I wish Olive Films, those Olive Films, there they are. They put out a lot of these really hard to find movies, and I really do wish that they would put some more special features on there, especially since the people who want these are the hardcore fans. Very seldom are you just going to get somebody who goes, Pursuit, that looks good. And, a lot of the times they want to learn more about the film because they love history. That's why they're watching old movies, so they're going to want to know the history of the movie. Okay, I want to say this is probably my favorite movie serial of all time. I know people shit on this, but come on, serials, let's be real, they weren't quality, moving films to begin with. They were fun. They were to entertain kids, and these are pretty damn entertaining. It's got everything I want, the cheesy effects. And my favorite serials are the the superhero sci-fi, action serials. I'm not a big fan of the Western ones. The horror ones, they're all right. Like the Phantom Creeps is great, but the Whispering Shadows, like, oh my god. So a friend of mine recommended the Raymond Bernard Eclipse series, specifically for Les Miserables, and it is 281 minutes long. Holy shit. And the thing is it's brilliant. It's fantastic. It is my favorite version of Les Mis. And not only that, but Wooden Crosses is a fantastic World War I movie. So, this is probably the least amount of movies I've ever seen on an Eclipse collection, but it's easily worth it. Like, this was so worth it, and I highly recommend this for anybody. And I'm a big fan of the 1935 version of Les Mis, and this is the 34 version, so this is my new favorite. And it's in French, and it was made in France, where Les Mis took place, so that makes it better. Beautiful. Just beautiful. My only complaint is that I was hoping for some original artwork. I love this image, but I really love it when Criterion does original artwork. I'm not as big as a fan when they do photoshopped images of the film, and it's really just because you can tell so much effort went into it, and I don't know. I just feel like there's another image that could better represent this. Even though this is one of my favorite movies of all time, I love this movie to death, but I just feel there's still so much more you could probably do with the image in terms of representation of what this film is about. Love how uniformed these three Criterions look next to each other. I think that's any film collector's dream come true. And all great movies. I love Ride the Pink Horse. I love Ride in Cell Block 11. Rafifi, one of my top 50. Fantastic goddamn movie. Love Samuel Fuller. Love him to death. His best movie of all time is The Steel Helmet, and I love this Eclipse set. This is the first Eclipse set I ever bought, and it's just unbelievable. It's fantastic. I love it, and Samuel Fuller is one of my favorites. I still need to get The Naked Kiss and a couple others, but I love The Steel Helmet. I love it to death. Love that cover. That is just a badass cover. It's better than the movie itself, but gotta love Hammer. I fucking love Hammer films. Two just criminally underrated films next to each other. Fred Zinnemann's The Search and Michael Curtiz's The Seawolf. And I think I reviewed both of these the same exact year when I was doing my 31 reviews in 31 days. And both of these, I think, over the course of time, I've realized are two of my favorite movies of all time. And they're both by Warner Archive. I just want to say, I actually wrote to Warner Archive, asking them when are they going to put out The Seawolf. And the response was, could be. We don't know. We don't know when it's coming out. And then literally 2 months later, this DVD came out. So I'd like to think I had something to do with it. Maybe I put the idea in their head. But this needed to come out a long time ago. This is a fantastic movie. Everyone is fantastic. The cinematography is it's fantastic. I don't really do that thing where I kiss the movie like all those Italians usually do. I'm Italian. I can get away with saying this, by the way. But it's one of the few instances where I will be like, magnificent. It's amazing. This is a very... Oh, shit. This is... God damn it. Okay, we good? We good. This is a very interesting film, and I didn't know if I was going to like it, when I first saw it. It's called Secret Honor, and it's by Robert Altman, who I'm a big fan of. And it's just the ramblings of Nixon. And it's... I don't know whether it's fantastic or just nonsense, but I love it. I really do. Okay, so Kino has been, and a bunch of other DVD companies have been licensing out the MGM DVD movies and giving them brand spanking new Blu-ray, just giving them back into the mainstream. Where the fuck is The Secret of Santa Vittoria? Yes, I have it, but it's a Korean DVD. Yeah, see, that is Korean writing right there. Oh, is that Chinese? Me and Mark discussed this. I'm not going to look into this. But anyway, where is that? This is a great movie. Like, not a good movie, a great movie. I really enjoyed this a lot. And I just wish more people would be able to see it, and especially classic film fans, because Anthony Quinn is just stellar. He is fantastic. But, I should stop talking, because I reviewed this. I reviewed this the same year I reviewed these two. So, maybe I'll just put a link to that. My running joke is that this will be the title of my autobiography. And the lies will be about the sex. Because it's not happening. This is a great Blu-ray set. And I actually got this at a horror convention, believe it or not, for reasonably priced. I think I got it for $40. Brand spanking new. They all work. I watched it, so it's not like they were defective. And this thing is like overpriced in my opinion on Amazon, but it was so worth getting this because I am a huge Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes fan. The Hound of the Baskervilles is my favorite out of all of them. But they're all great. They're all good fun. I really enjoy these, and I just love having them on Blu-ray. They look so pristine, and I'm just so glad MPI did this. I love Stanley Kramer, and I love this set. I just wish there were a couple more movies on there. And I wish there was more of his Columbia films. What we got on there was fantastic, but I really want My Six Convicts, Death of a Salesman, The Happy Time, and the Four poster on DVD at some point. So what's funny is that I think when I started this collection, I think in my first video, I should look back on this. I'm gonna look back on it actually real quick. Okay, so I checked. Yes. So when I did my first video back in middle school, I had both of these. And literally last week I got this season. And I love live TV, as I said before. Studio One, this was a great set to buy. As soon as I bought it, it goes out of print. I wish they would do another volume of these, because there's so many good ones that are still haven't seen the light of day. Okay, so earlier Mark and I were talking about how we did an Oscars pick for a school newspaper, and it was for 2015, and I pretty much got all of them right, except for Best Picture, and I kind of schooled him. But anyway, I saw this with him, and this was a very important film for both of us. One, because he did theater at our school, like the tech stuff, and I played hockey. And one night after practice, I got a call from one of my friends saying that there was an accident, and Mark was moving some stuff, and a guitar fell on his head. And I thought to myself, well, that's not that bad. Guitars, it probably hurt, but nothing bad. So it was actually not the big bass part. It was where you tune it, and one of the tuners fell off and cracked him in the skull and sliced his head open, and he had to get staples and stitches in his head, and he was in a lot of pain. And so I was like, oh my god, I just feel so bad. And I was like, you know what? I want to see that movie Spotlight. Why don't we go see it? And so my dad wanted to see it too, so he came. And my dad fell asleep immediately, so it was a waste of a movie ticket for him. But me and Mark saw this, and Mark has a very keen knowledge and interest in journalism. And he, when we sat up, he said to me, Jack, I think that's the best movie I've seen this year. And I said, Mark, I think I agree with you. And then it won Best Picture. And then everyone was pissed The Revenant didn't. But I'm saying it, Spotlight is better than The Revenant. I've always thought it, and I still to this day think so. I was so happy when Warner Brothers acquired the rights to all the Goldwyn films, because this is an amazing film. Again, this is another film I saw, and the more I thought about it, the more I fell in love with it. It's just such an amazing film. I love these three. These three is an amazing movie, and I love it to death. I really do. Now, if only Warner Brothers would release Our Very Own and Dodsworth, then the Goldwyn cycle will be complete, because those are the only two Goldwyn films they have the rights to that they haven't released on DVD. That are great, in my opinion. There's others, like I don't think The Dark Angel's on DVD, but I'm not a fan of that movie. Love it. Don't care what anyone says. This is a great movie. It's not it is a gimmick picture, but it uses its gimmicks so well. Russell Rouse, genius. Oh my god. There is nothing like watching The Thing for the first time. Just nothing beats that first viewing. And this is one of those movies I kind of wish I could just have amnesia every time I watch it. Simply because the first time I saw it, it was just so amazing, and just the suspense of over who could be the Thing, and what can this thing turn into. And I was so excited for that prequel, because I was glad they weren't remaking it. They were doing a prequel, and they ruined everyone who was the Thing in the trailer, and it pissed me the fuck off. And I'm just like, God damn it! But, we still have the original, and, maybe if they do remake the Thing one day, which unfortunately they might, they can retain the suspense and effects, but probably not. All three. Oh, Top Cat. Easily my favorite Hanna-Barbera series. It's a parody of the Phil Silvers Show. And something I love pointing out is that, so this is a parody of the Phil Silvers Show. And Phil Silvers played Sergeant Bilko in the Phil Silvers Show, and Arnold Stang plays Top Cat, who is based off Phil Silvers. So Arnold Stang is essentially making fun of Phil Silvers and playing his part. So Marvin Kaplan is Choo Choo. Now Arnold Stang and Marvin Kaplan are both in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and so is Phil Silvers. And the scene where Phil Silvers pulls into the gas station, he runs into Arnold Stang and Marvin Kaplan. And it just so happens that Arnold Stang and Marvin Kaplan were in a parody of the Phil Silvers Show. I will say that this is a creepy fucking movie, and I love it. And yes, it's Full Moon, but I genuinely think this is probably the best movie Charles Band has ever put out there. And I just have this creepy fascination with inanimate objects that look human. So like puppets and, dolls and mannequins and wax figures. So this film, they don't scare the shit out of me, but they definitely do creep me out, so that's why I love this movie. And again, I love creepy films. Not scary, creepy. It builds an atmosphere, and just the little sounds the dummies make, like the laughing and the almost as if they're singing, is just, it's awesome. I know a lot of people hate this movie, but I genuinely do love it. I really have a fascination with safari movies, specifically like Darkest Africa. I know they're very offensive by today's standards, but I don't know, I just have this love for these explorers and adventures and, being out there with these perilous animals, being out there in this perilous landscape where, like, if you disturb the natural balance, it'll backfire and, go after you. And there is a disturbing scene where there was a rhino that they needed to, rampage. And, Rhino Rampage, that's a board game I had as a kid. That's funny. I still have it. But they needed it to rampage, and I'm not sure if they had people throw rocks at it or something, or kids, But there is a scene in this film that made it into the film where a rhino does murder a kid. But what they did is they drew like this really poorly done outline of a person. So they drew over the kid and made him look like an adult. But you could still tell that the rhino kills somebody, and to know that it's a child is just really disturbing. So that's just one of the things that I watch this movie. I'm just like, oh my god, that kind of puts me off. So that's, it's just kind of showing the treachery. And not only that, but if you know the history of this film, you'll know a lot of people got sick, were injured, and somebody else actually died too. I think it was one of the native crewmen who was moving a light, and he fell into a river and was eaten by crocodiles, like right in front of them. Like, that is so fucked up. And I know there's like a documentary that Harry Carey Jr. hosted called Back to Trader Horn, and I haven't seen it, but I want to. And it's not on this DVD, unfortunately, because it's Warner Archive, and they usually just put the film. If there were previous special features with the film, they don't, they put it on there. But I really want to see the documentary because it's such a fascinating thing to me for, safari and just Africa in general. I love learning about, like, the wildlife and stuff. This is a crazy, crazy fucking movie. Like, oh my god. I've never been able to laugh and almost throw up at the same goddamn time. I have all the seasons of The Twilight Zone. My favorite show of all time, and yeah, I got the movie, but that was just because it was on sale and I had never seen it before. Had I seen it before, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Okay, so I just want to say, I bought this cereal Jungle Girl. Never seen it before, but I bought it strictly for the cover. Like, oh my god, this, not only is this just a poorly done sketch of the lead actress. Not only does it totally misrepresent, what this film is. There's a diamond, there's multiple diamonds. It's not a big diamond, they're all very tiny. She doesn't wear like an amulet, like, actually I think she does, but she does not wear this green tattered thing. Not only is this just a terrible sketch, just a terrible drawing, but it is very, very sexualized. And it's like, yeah, I get there's probably not bras in the jungle, but, like, she doesn't look like this. She doesn't wear anything like that. What were they thinking? And the discard is just atrocious, too. Like, I know some artists probably put a lot of work into this, but oh my god. Oh my god, it doesn't even look like her. Like, see, it doesn't even look like her. Oh my fucking god. The one thing I will give this disc is that, oh, come on. So there's actually trivia written on the inside of the disc. Yeah, on Frances Gifford, the lead. Some backstory about Jungle Girl in general, what it's based on. Tom Neal. And just a bunch of other things. So it's got some information on directors, but this is a very bad looking DVD. The quality is very good. I'll give it that. The quality is good, and but oh my fucking god, this is a terrible cover. And that's the only reason I bought it, because I was like, I just gotta have that, because this is hilarious to laugh at. I will say that the DVD menu is a shit ton louder, like they have music. It's a shit ton louder than the actual goddamn serial, so you got to turn it up really loud. But there's no play all option, so at the end of every episode, it sends you back to the menu. If you're not quick enough, you get the old, like, to be continued, but you have it turned up loud, and if you don't turn it down, it, like, the music, like, blasts. And it's like the Mac, like stock music where it's the jazz, like dun 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 dun, but like it's really fucking loud, But the funniest part is that I've never seen this before, and I got it. And it's my second favorite cereal ever made. It was good. Not only was it just fun, but like they genuinely didn't have a lot of stock footage, and it didn't seem cheap. So that's why I really liked this. But oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, so I got movies here too. One of my favorite horror movies, one of my favorite Criterions, and one of my favorite covers. I think the closest you're ever going to get to tripping out without actually taking any psychedelics is watching this movie. Or, the Western classics. Rawhide is on there. Rawhide is my favorite noir Western. I mentioned that earlier. And this is a great set, because the gunfighter's great, and then Garden of Evil, it's okay, but I needed it for my Richard Widmark collection. But Rawhide, fantastic film. And I was so excited when they finally released this. Westfront 1918. I love this film to death. It is a great, great portrait of war. It's almost a perfect movie. And that scene where they're... And I reviewed this my first year. Before I even owned this Blu-ray, I had to get a rip from YouTube for footage. I remember watching this and just being blown away by that scene where the trench fort, the dirt's falling on them, and they have to hold it up, but they have to hold their breath, because every breath they take, takes away oxygen, because they have a very limited supply, and they could suffocate to death. It's just, it's so nerve-wracking. The Spectre of the Rose on here is a rip from YouTube that I burned onto a disc. This has never been available on DVD, but I remember going to the Billy Wilder Theater, I think it was April 2014. I was invited to the premiere of the restoration for Spectre of the Rose, where UCLA had recently done a restoration, and it was they had a Ben Hecht interview where Mike Wallace had interviewed him on his show, and the interview was fantastic. It introduced me to Ben Hecht. I didn't realize I'd been watching his work for years because I love His Girl Friday, which was based off The Front Page. But, you guys get it. But that, I will always cherish that memory. And what I couldn't believe is I was talking to somebody who actually helped with the restoration and who runs the Hollywood Heritage Museum. He's talking to me, and in mid-sentence he said, "Have you ever seen West Side Story before?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "George Takei's is standing right behind you." And I turned around, and George Takei was there, and I met George Takei at this premiere. And I will always remember that night. So Spectre of the Rose, even though it's not a very good movie, I have a very important memory tied to it. So I will always cherish the movie because of that memory. I just realized that two of my favorite comedies of all time are right next to each other. What's Up, Doc? And When Harry Met Sally. I quote these two on a daily basis. I actually got this at Paramount in LA. Same year, same time frame as the Spectre of the Rose when I saw it for the first time. So this DVD has another great memory tied to it because I got it in the gift shop afterwards, and I'd always wanted wings, and this was my excuse to get it. This was a blind buy for the Criterion sale, and this is an amazing film. I highly recommend it. I don't really know anybody who's seen it and disliked it. So this is a Silent Wizard of Oz collection. I think it was L. Frank Baum. I think that's his name. The author of The Wizard of Oz actually saw the potential in making movie adaptations off his novels. And he started the Oz Company, which made only 3 movies, and they're all on here. And the Patchwork Girl of Oz actually has Harold Lloyd and Hal Roach, and that's how they met. So that's pretty interesting. And the Wizard of Oz, this one, over here from 1920, this has Oliver Hardy in it, which I think is equally as cool. But the thing I want to point out is that these movies reuse the same cast members over and over again. And the lead actress in all of them was played by a woman named Violet Macmillan. But that's her IMDb name. But in the movie, she's credited a Violet McMillan. To which my relatives, when they came to the U.S., their last names were Macmillan, and then they changed it to McMillan. I find that interesting. And then the last things alphabetically in my collection are Zorro Rides Again, which I just got, and Zorro's Fighting Legion, which is another one of my favorite serials of all time. And man, I have been talking so much that my voice is giving out, and part of that is because I am sick right now. So, yeah, that was my collection. Oh no, there's actually more shit. Okay, I am so tired. Let's finish this. So this drawer is for all my box sets. Box sets that I can't fit into my drawers over there. And some of these are, out of print now, which it's nice to have. Yeah, I have Mystery Science Theater. And like I said before with TV shows, it's hard to collect them all. I'm debating whether or not to get all of them. This is a good box set. I like Noel Coward and David Lean's work together, and this is a really good set by Criterion. So I think if you're a David Lean fan or just a fan of British cinema, highly recommend this. My favorite is In Which We Serve. I got the second, third, and fourth Warner Brothers gangster sets. I don't have the first one because those are all famous movies like White Heat and Little Caesar and Public Enemy that I just so happened to have bought all of them separately before I found out about these sets. So there was no reason to get the first set. This is my favorite noir box set I've ever gotten in my life. You get 5 of the most essential noirs ever made. You got Out of the Past, Asphalt Jungle, Murder My Sweet, Gun Crazy, and The Setup. How much more essential can you get besides, Double Indemnity? And In a Lonely Place, and The Maltese Falcon. Okay, the Big Sleep. What's funny is Maltese Falcon and Big Sleep, both owned by Warner Brothers, so they could have been put on here, Val Lewton, Errol Flynn, Woody Allen, More Noir, Barbara Stanwyck, More Noir, Ingmar Bergman, Carl Theodor Dreyer. This is a Three Stooges set, and if you're a Three Stooges fan, it's mandatory to get, because it's got every short ever made. It's got a bonus disc with a bunch of the movies, some of the shorts with just Joe Besser and Shemp and Joe Dorita, before they joined the Stooges. It's really a Stooges fan's dream come true. I highly recommend it if you're a Stooge fan. Don't buy the volumes one by one. That's very, very, inefficient. These things are awesome. I know I bitch and moan about Alpha Video all the time. But I really do love them. A lot of the times they put out stuff that no one else is putting out, so they're kind of essential to classic film lovers. And they do this thing where they take 4, of their DVDs and they put it on in these like wooden boxes. And I think I got this for like $3.99. Because they were having a sale. And I remember, each disc that they have of like their own personal movies are like $5.95 each. So I got 4 for $3.95. It was a no-brainer. I also just love how uniform they look. I know they got more with like features, but like these are the only ones I own. I'm wondering if I should get more, but at the same time, I feel like it's fine. So this is my watch pile right here. When I get a new disc, I want to make sure it works, because there have been several instances where I get movies, and I'll put it in, and they won't work. Like, that happened for my Most Dangerous Game and Foreign Correspondent DVDs, where I put them in, and there was no scratches on the discs, and, there was no damage done, but I put them in, and they just wouldn't work. And so, I needed to get a new disc, so I'd send it back. So I always make sure I watch my movies at least once. Whether it's a TV show, a serial, or a cartoon, I make sure I watch every single thing on the disc to make sure it works. Sometimes for special features, if a movie, I'm not that into the movie, I speed through the special features, or I just don't watch them at all, because I'll probably never watch it. As long as the movie works, that's what matters. But yeah, this is my watch pile. So, I got this, Lonesome Dove, Combat Classics. That's going to take a while to watch, and Louie. It's going to be funny looking back on this video and being like, oh my god, this is what I was watching at the time? That's so funny. I'm still watching Combat Classics, or I still haven't watched Lonesome Dove. It's going to be funny to look back on that. Okay, so that was my collection. And I know I didn't go through everything, which a lot of people are probably going to be a little disappointed that, they saw something that they wanted me to talk about, and I didn't. But I can't talk about everything. I don't have I don't have that much time to talk about films, and I honestly don't know if Mark has that much time to talk about films. But the reason I did this was because I looked back at my collection from middle school that I had accumulated, and I was laughing because I said to myself, wow, my collection was so small, and I love that there was this little time capsule, because so much has changed. Like, my life has changed, the basement that I'm in has changed so much, and I just wonder in the future how much more this is going to grow, because I wonder if I'm going to look back and be like, wow, I remember when it was like this, or wow, I remember when it was that small, and stuff like that. So this is a little personal, time capsule thing I wanted to do for a while, and I wanted to do it a couple times in high school and never did, but now I did, and I'm really happy I did, and maybe I'll do one again in the future. The previous video was about, I say 7 years ago? No, more than, actually. Yeah, I'd say 7 or 8 years ago. I'd have to check the date again, but it's early in the morning and I'm tired. Hopefully I can do another one of these in the future, but I'd have to do it. I wish I did more of these in the past, because it would have been cool to see the slow progression over time, but instead I just jumped from A to B. But, that's life, and you don't really, for some things you don't really get these great ideas until later, but, better late than never. So, see ya.